science vessels, and of course get his upgrades going. But if he wants to support more factories, of course, alongside. But it only has 4 at the moment. I think I only saw 2 of those, maybe 3 of the machine shop. Even though he is going to push out now. Has a lot of tanks. I think that's 8 tanks. Maybe has some vultures and the Goliath alongside to support BeSt. On the opposite side, is actually going to put down a bunch of gateways. He has only mostly dragoons to protect. Doesn't have his first arbiter out yet. If he gets his first arbiter out, he's going to be in a pretty good position. But Flash might actually manage to get a lot of damage, and he might even start firing on the ridge. As soon as if he sieges up those tanks, get some vultures inside of the base, he might attack from the ridge and just siege up on those probes. Exactly what he's thinking of doing. Now he's going to scan off, get a bunch of probe kills with just the first volley. Dragoons are incoming. BeSt is going to have himself a little bit of trouble defending this. Flashman going to get in closer. He might get pinched, though. Meanwhile, has some preemptive mines here. Going to get some mines. Going to hit off. There's an observer in play. And if that observer doesn't go down, these Dragoons are able to at least start up by clearing the mines. Some Zealots running in. Clear. All the mines have been cleared. Zealots are going to be able to come in close. Tanks are going to be forced to engage these Dragoons, but I think they're in enough number to push them back. Most of the auxiliary forces have been taken out. There were some Dragoons on the left side as well. All of them down. So Flash with a perfect push here. Getting an SCV inside. Getting a turret up. So that's going to give him vision in there. Vulture's going to come in to help support, surround all the Dragoons. Poros being forced off the line to go to that mineral only. There's finally an arbiter in play, but there is that turret, so it's going to act at least, give some detection. Some of these tanks are on siege. You can start marking against these Zealots. Zealots trying to come in, engaging close. At the very least, BeSt is fighting this back, but tanks still pushing in. They are going to take down a natural expansion. BeSt is going to lose a natural expansion. That's going to be a critical hit here. Flash now might even, he's going to stick with these forces inside, using some scans. I think he lost that turret. He might actually want to push back here already. He's done the damage. He's actually going to siege up, try to continue to take out this rest of this force, going to continue scanning. Has still an SCV inside there, might build another turret. He knows, still has a turret alive. He knows he's putting on the pressure. He can continue this going. He's probably going to get mopped up eventually because his reinforcements are coming in slow. He's not going to reinforce with any tanks. Just a couple of vultures can come in, pick up even more probes. But the economic damage he's done overall is absolutely massive. So despite, he's probably going to lose this force, but still, this was an absolutely perfect attack. Still has these forces inside, and BeSt really having a lot of trouble pushing this back.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, the damage has already been done. Look at the third base, the mineral only. There's probes going down left and right down there. I think probably half dozen probes or so went down there. And if a scan had gone down a little bit earlier, even more would have gone down. And it looks like BeSt maybe has the Dragoon count now to take it down. It's going to be close, I think. No, he's still not going to be able to clear this out. So, I mean, BeSt used probably, what, 4 or 5 rounds of reinforcing units and still hasn't been able to clear this out. This is really bad for him. And I think Flash may even have an SCV in the bottom right-hand corner ready to take that base. So, really bad for BeSt. I mean, Flash has dealt, for sure, a critical blow here with that 4-fact push. And, yeah, he's just in a fantastic position. The economic damage has been done. The advantages are all in his corner. And I'm sure that at this point he's got his armories up and going. We got +1 attack for both players. But those tanks with that +1 upgrade are all... Oh, big stasis going down, catching 3 of the tanks. So I think finally BeSt is going to be able to push this back. Finally. And... maybe finally get some breathing room, but, you know, I mean, breathing room isn't enough. He needs to do some counter damage because this just isn't enough. He can't sit here. He can try, but, let Flash Makarov a 4 bases goodbye. And it looks like Flash is actually sending some vultures again to that third base. As you can see him moving across the map, and those are going to get in there and probably get even more kills depending upon how fast BeSt is able to react here. See some mines being planted, and that cannon does actually stay alive, so he's going to be able to take down those mines pretty easily. But overall, you know, BeSt is just so far behind. He's mining off 1 main and 1 mineral only, and that's it. And that's just not enough gas more than anything else to really supply your units. It looks like the stasis finally wore off, and it looks like BeSt is going to be able to clear this out. Just mines and vultures. Looks like a couple tanks are left on that ridge, but it's just not going to be enough to hold back this push from BeSt. And it looks like a nice little mine jack. Yeah, nice mine jack there. That was cute. That was cool by BeSt to clear out some of those tanks. And it looks like Flash maybe needs to pull back. I think he may have overdone his rally times there to the natural there. That last push, I don't think he really needed to. I think he would have been better off saving those 4 or 5 tanks and the few vultures and Goliath. Yeah, he did some damage to the forces, but I think he would have rather preferred to keep those back at home, because his tank count right now would be maybe 8 tanks on his ridge, and from that ridge you can really defend all of your bases as long as you are able to scout out any attack at the bottom right, which that Arbiter looks like it may be thinking about doing, leading a strike force down to the bottom right, just to make sure that Flash doesn't get too much of an economic lead. But yeah, really BeSt needs to do something, because if he just sits here like this, he's just going to fall behind once again, because he's still only mining off of really 2.5 bases tops. Once that then his natural expansion gets going again.
We're lagging pretty badly, and I want to apologize to everybody about that. My video even lagged out for a little bit. I tried to fix it, so I have no idea if it's right or not. Hoping here seriously to have to avoid a restart, because this has the, despite the massive economic damage done, this has the makings of a pretty long game. Despite that, BeSt somehow getting himself a little bit of recovery time. Meanwhile, getting his gateways up, getting a decent amount of forces up while he gets down his natural expo. Again, Flash, meanwhile, is a base over him, but there is going to be a recall. You can see an Arbiter coming out, going to go right for the main. He's going to try for recall. This recall could be absolutely critical. Has a huge force to go with this. Going to go right for the production line. And Flash doesn't really have that many forces back at home to react to this. So at the very least, BeSt might do some damage. A lot of vultures coming in. Zealot's trying to block them off. Scan's going to go off, but BeSt really has to do some damage. He's just engaging the vultures. He really has to do something in production builds. He has to do something to those factories. Vultures still coming in, streaming in, planting down mines. This might do a lot of damage. I don't see any observers. Oh no, vultures! A lot of the vultures dying to their own mines there. Dragoons are probably going to be able to clear it out, but finally more reinforcements coming alongside tanks. I think the Observer died there in the air, but the Dragoons overall haven't really done that much damage. Or we've been engaging the forces. Finally, Goliath might even kill that Arbiter. Finally not going to come in into the SCV count. Not a lot of SCVs at that main. Most of them are going to die, but overall not too much damage done. Did fight back. A lot of those Vultures killed out pretty much the entire Vulture army that Flash had, but Flash moving in with some reinforcements finally going to clear it out. Also taking out the Arbiter. Just a couple of Dragoons left on the ground alongside me. And if we're lagging too much, Deja Vu, please tell me.
I think we're close. I think we're off by just a few seconds, but we can try and deal with it. We do have another Arbiter out for BeSt, and as he's throwing up the base at the top left, you can maybe try and use that as a mark. We're at 1637 right now, and he looks like he's going to try and maybe try and defuse some of these mines that are on Flash's ridge right now. He can probably send in a couple of Zealots, just try and defuse that, leave open an avenue of tech could be a possibility before he's able to retake it, but it looks like he was just a little bit too late, so Vulture's coming in there to reinforce those tanks and stop any sort of mine jags that BeSt could have tried. And BeSt looks like, I'm surprised to see that BeSt has such a nicely macroed force. Looks like he's able to macro quite well while he was absorbing all those losses. I'm really surprised to see that. I really thought that he would be farther behind at this stage in the game, but it looks like he's actually macroed up a decent force. It's certainly not comparable to Flash. I think if they were to meet head to head, like in an open field, I think Flash would certainly come ahead right now. But BeSt has enough there that if he can choose his time correctly with the proper stasis or two, he would be able to at least put up a really solid fight and make things difficult for Flash. And I think that's why we're seeing Flash not push out at this time. He just doesn't have everything he needs. I think he's going to wait for that science vessel so that we can start EMPing, getting that mobile detection up so he doesn't have to worry about scanning constantly. Looks like we have another Arbiter here at the 12 o'clock position looking to do another recall. I hope he doesn't go for it because there's something like 6 turrets up right now. That Arbiter is preparing, and the scan goes off seeing that Arbiter. This is going to be a big-time fail if he commits to it. And going into 6 turrets, we're going to see a recall there. No recall. Arbiter wasted. Arbiter unable to get a recall off. So that is huge. Yet another detriment to BeSt forces. And BeSt looks like he's just losing all of the little battles in this game. Once we passed that early game where he kind of had the early game strategized out. And it looks like ever since then he's been losing all the little battles. You know, losing things like that Arbiter, not able to do enough damage, I think, with his first recall. So a little bit unfortunate for Flash. Hopefully for BeSt, hopefully he will show a little bit more care with his future Arbiters because, well, that kind of thing is really going to hurt you in the long run because you really need those Arbiters for their stasis once the eventual push for the Terran does come out. So he needs to be a lot more careful, I feel, with his Arbiters. He needs to be careful with those. Send out some observers even ahead of them so that way he knows what's there, knows he can get them off. Otherwise, stuff like that's going to happen, and he's just going to get rolled over once Flash pushes out.
Yeah, I'm just so kind of weirded out at this game a little bit. A lot of vultures going to move out to the upper left-hand corner. A lot of the probes trying to mill off, but so many vultures are probably most of them going to die before they even go anywhere. Every single probe going to get killed. Flash going to go up at this upper left-hand. Might even take out this Nexus with nothing more but this vulture. But there is an Arbiter alongside some Dragoons going to come up. Mine's going to be planted down right at that bridge, at that ramp, I mean, just to prevent those Dragoons and Zealots from milling up. But I think a lot of these Vultures force should actually be managed to clear it up. I think Flash, don't think he actually moved out into his Vultures. Finally going to move them back. But that's already damage done. He stayed there for a little bit longer, just tried to do a little bit of extra damage. But meanwhile, he set up a very, very nice defensive grid based along the entire right side of the map. His main's mined out at the moment. His natural expansion probably not doing too well either, but he has